You're all set, Cormac.
Okay, great. Thank you. Okay, so we're good with the public stream, Stephanie?
Yep, we are live on YouTube.
Excellent, thank you. Well, hi everyone, and welcome to today's group conversation from the Strategic Marketing Group. We don't have any questions at the moment in the agenda, so if anyone wants to just go off the cuff and verbalize this.
Well, I'll start. This is Tracy, and I just wanted to say how proud we are of William Chia for his accomplishments and for being named as the Marketing Influencer of the Year. So congratulations to William from the entire BMM team.
Yeah, William, since we don't have any questions, if you want to give an acceptance speech, that would be appropriate, I think.
I really appreciate it, and I don't know about acceptance speech, but I will share this very candidly. So this is, I feel very honored and humbled that I get to be named on a type of list like this. This is a group of the Product Marketing Alliance. They are, they put on conferences, they put out materials, they advance the art and the craft of product marketing globally. And to make this list of their top product marketers for the year, it's by nomination. So you have to nominate people that you believe are influential in the industry, and then they have to accept that nomination. So all that's to say is, I honestly believe, not to kind of short sell myself or my own skills, that a big reason that I get to be on something like this is because of GitLab and because of the team, and particularly because of GitLab's transparency. So, and because of the work of the whole team. So for example, I will have folks ping me on LinkedIn pretty consistently and tell me that they read our handbook, that they were looking up some information about product marketing, and they found something that I wrote, or they found a YouTube video on our YouTube. Our sales enablement, not just my videos, but ones that the teams create. Folks will ping me on LinkedIn and say, I wanted to understand a particular IT buyer persona, and I read your materials. So the influence of the team really expands out beyond GitLab to influence product marketers at other companies. And this is something I kind of get the privilege of hearing about. And I get the privilege of being named to the list, but I really feel it's kind of an accomplishment that represents the ethos and the values of GitLab as a company and the efforts of the whole team. And that's just something that I earnestly believe. So that's me saying, kind of thank you for noting that on the slides as well.
Well, thank you. And Christy, it looks like you are typing the first question right now. Do you want to verbalize that?
Sure, I'm furiously typing and didn't get the end of the question.
Okay, we can type for you, so that's fine.
Thank you. Yeah, so I was excited to see the slide on competitive analysis. That's great. As part of our fiscal year 22 direction in UX, the product designers will be doing more competitive analysis work as part of their product design. So different than the type of competitive analysis that your team is doing, but the companies against which you are comparing our product, I think would be a really good list for my team to start from. Is there a single source of truth location where we could find a list of those products, which parts of the product we think the comparison is relevant to, that sort of thing?
So I guess first, Alita or Mahesh, would either of you like to take that?
Yeah, I could take that. I think we have obviously a lot of competitors that we compare in our comparison pages, but there is a short list that I think that we come across more often than not, and that would be Jenkins, GitHub, JFrog, Bitbucket, Azure DevOps are sort of the big, the big competitors that we come across. And within that, there are specific products, obviously. So we can get you that list in terms of exactly which areas of the product we compare more often than not. So that's one aspect of it. The other thing we are also working on as an entire strategic marketing team is coming up with much sharper content around product differentiators. A lot of our competitors have done some, changes in their product, added new features and capability that didn't exist, I would say even 6 months ago, 8 months ago. So we're taking a fresh look at how we look at our differentiators and getting much more sharper on that. So your effort could also be helpful in that regard. So we'll keep you in the loop as we continue to do that. So you'll have perhaps newer areas to probe in terms of UX.
Yeah, that's awesome. Obviously a handbook page is always our preference, but I don't know if this is something that we would make public. But if not, we also have a private handbook. So maybe that would be a place where we could keep that single source of truth so people can just go reference it when it's time.
Sure.
Okay. Next up, there's actually a couple of comments and questions from Jim Riley, and I really like your 2A there. So if you could verbalize those, that would be great. That's a great suggestion.
Sure. So first of all, thanks for the slides that show the what's new. I think the challenge of this briefing each time is you're giving us so much content that it's great to have the clarity of what is new and what's been updated. The concept of the change log in some format is just, with content, understanding how fresh that content is one piece of that. Second is, in the absence of your briefing document that's showing the what's new, to be able to show over time, hey, here's the new content or updated content in the last 30 days that you could go and peruse. So that's that. So thank you for providing that information. And then the second is I find myself often, I see a piece of gated content and I go, this is great. I can't find it internally. So then I just go and sign up to get the download. I'm sure there's a more efficient way. What is that for us to get the non-gated content?
Sure. So for the first one, looks like someone just put the link in there as well. So we recently started a content calendar, and by we, I mean marketing at large. We've other groups other than strategic marketing using the content calendar right now, and we're going to keep building on that. So that can show you what's coming in the near future. For the non-gated content, Brian, do you want to talk about the asset inventory?
Sure, happy to. So I actually will also just even share my screen real quick. And I typed in an answer on this one. But what I was linking to is the asset inventory. Looks like this is embedded in the handbook page all about it. So sort of all of the FAQ is down underneath. And right at the top is this live dashboard from Google Data Studio showing you everything that we have in terms of metadata around all of the assets maintained or significantly contributed to by strategic marketing. So a lot of stuff that we originated or that came through a request for sales enablement or that sort of thing, but it does also include last updated date to your specific question, and a lot of other ways to sort of filter the results. And let's just say I wanted to take a look at all the demos. So it should be just as easy as that. Show me all the demos, and then you can actually take your list to go. It spits out into a Google Sheet. So if you've looked for all demos related to a specific value driver or whatever it is exactly, and including, yes, updated in the last 30 days, it's only as perfect as we are in terms of keeping it up to date. It's a bit of a manual process there, but we have a web form that we use to do that. And so it's not super hard. I'll just give a little bit of a warning that occasionally there's something new that we just haven't popped into the inventory yet.
Thank you. That looks great.
Cool. Any other? We're out of questions on the agenda. So any other questions just coming to mind?
I'm wondering if anyone from Jackie's team is on as well, because I think to Jim's question, Some of those assets we have direct linked in our sheet that Brian just showed, but I don't think that that's a comprehensive list. And to the challenge that Jim, I think, is encountering, and that many around the org are, we put out like I think recently out of marketing, not even out of strategic marketing, I think out of the content group, they just put out like, 4 or 5 PDFs, I think, that Val put together. And those exist somewhere, and I honestly don't know. And so I'm kind of curious if anybody outside of this group knows if there's a place to go and just get those PDFs directly. I know sometimes they appear in Path Factory, but people getting access to Path Factory, I know, can sometimes be a challenge. So I don't know if anyone like that is on the call. Once upon a time, there was a resources folder on our website, which I'm trying to poke into now, and I don't think we keep assets there. So that's another place, Jim, or anybody else who's looking for, hey, we have a landing page and you have to fill out the form to get that content. That should exist somewhere, especially for our sales team, to just be able to share with customers and prospects directly. And honestly, we've just never had a really good system for doing that. I'm assuming, since no one's speaking up, that we don't have like Agnes or Jackie or Rini, anybody on the call like that. So Jim, let me follow up, and I'll offer one other bit of advice, and honestly something I do. I personally sometimes fill out the form, but you can also ping just in the marketing channel and say, hey, here's this wonderful, new ebook that Valerie wrote, and I would love, can I just get a direct copy of it without having to fill out the form? And if you ping in the marketing channel, that might be a way to get direct access to that. I don't know that all of those assets are listed in our asset inventory. That's mostly content that our team has generated or worked on.
William,
Go ahead, Alistair.
Thank you. I was just going to say that Sarah Chia looks after all the Path Factory stuff, so she might know how to get to that content and make it available for the team. So I can add that in as a note, and then we can ask her.
Sarah Daly.
Sarah Daly.
Oh yeah, what did I say? Chia, sorry.
I'm a big fan of Sarah Chia, who works in our legal
Well, I'm
department.
glad you're a fan of Sarah Chia. I meant Sarah Daly.
Yeah, so I will share this, unless Sarah's on the call and she wants to pipe in, that Sarah has been awesome. She has worked in particular to enable several parts of marketing to have access to Path Factory. And in particular, she just worked with the product as strategic marketing as a whole to enable us. And one of the key kind of insights that came out of all of this kind of work that she did with our team was that Path Factory as a tool is not designed as a content repository. So although there is some content there, and if you have access to it, searching for content there is like, that does exist, but long-term or even today, that's not the right mode. So I think Sarah would share this as well if she was on the call, that giving everybody access to Path Factory isn't really the right solution. Long-term, we really need a dedicated tooling. I know David Somers' team is working on a sales enablement style tooling. Tanuja's working on that. I know there are Sarah Daly is working on a marketing content repository. I think it's called a DAL, digital asset or DAM, digital asset management. So that type of tooling we don't have today. That doesn't preclude the fact, though, that those PDFs exist somewhere. And so I would say that the team is marketing program management that probably knows where most of those digital assets are stored today. Some of it's in Path Factory, some of it's in other places. Longer term, we need dedicated tooling in order to manage that. But the kind of summary today is Path Factory has this very specific purpose. It's for content consumption. It doesn't really function well as a content repository.
Hey, William, I was going to add from this comes up quite a bit. The same question you had, Jim, during onboarding, right? We've got new field team members. So I included in D there a link to a Google Doc that I think marketing maintains that we were given as something we could share with new team members. It's got both the gated links and ungated links. Now, you can tell me if we're not supposed to be using that, but it's a common question we get that we want to be able to provide folks.
And David, we should, I'll be sure to sync with you folks to make sure that everything we're putting into the asset inventory that's relevant winds up in that as well.
Cool. Thanks, Cormac.
Okay, any other questions? Waiting for the awkward pause. All right. Okay, well, thank you. If there are no other questions, then I guess we can call the meeting for today. But the very last slide of the deck shows how to get in touch with us, and please do. Particularly, I'd like to say the request for customer calls. If you're talking with customers, whatever you'd like us to do on that call, we're happy to. Again, we're happy to help you explain the value of GitLab to those customers, but we're also happy to just sit there and be quiet and listen, because the more we know about the customers, the better we can help you and help them.